Hello, my loves. Hello. Just checking. It's giving me a weird signal. Making sure we don't have any technical delays. And let me share this into my group. If you are catching the replay, hashtag it replay. Let me know that you were here. All right, we can get rid of that. We can go live on TikTok too. All right. Good morning. Hello, my loves. Welcome to your 2-week energy update. And I may go live next week as well. I'm not sure yet. But I'm really feeling called to bring forth this particular amount of information on this week's energy update. So a lot of this is pre-channeled even, which usually I just show up and open my mouth and whatever comes out. But this time there was some very specific things that we had to pre-channel. So I have those in front of me as well. It's big energy. If you guys are new to me or just finding me, I'm Johanna Burkhardt. I am a multidimensional channel, teacher, healer, many other things. And I am here to help you go from surviving to thriving so that you can create the reality that you are desiring. And there is a multitude of ways that you can do that, but it's ultimately the goal is to lead you to trust and love yourself, to be able to stand in your own sovereignty and know who you are and what your purpose is as a human being on this journey. If you guys were in my group, my private group, you guys know that I kind of touched on some weird energy that we were having. So we're going to talk a little bit about that as well. I would really love it if you guys hear something that I say that is like profound or something that you're like, oh my God, I want to remember that, or that's really good. If you could timestamp it, that really helps for me to create more mini content on other places. So I would really appreciate if you guys could do that, and to share. Sharing is caring. So share this message out. Let other people know. I give this information freely, and I give such, every week I give so much information that really helps you to navigate your way through this awakening. So I would love it if you could reciprocate that by sharing it out. Whew. So trying to see where they want to start, because we have so much information that we want to bring through today. So we're going to start with over this past week. So again, I'm just going to recap for those of you. Usually my energy updates don't really build upon each other, but this month they really have. And that's why they had guided me to move to weekly instead of monthly, just because the energy is changing so rapidly that a one month forecast didn't feel like it would be of service. I felt like there was just too much that was going to be changing too quickly. But each week I've noticed that it's built upon each other. And so October, as I have mentioned all the weeks prior, is really been about revelations and self-realization. So the revelations from people around you, revelations on the world stage, which lead to self-realizations. This is where people are showing their true colors, where you have shown your true colors, where the world and the beings that hide behind the curtains have been showing their true colors. So there's been a lot of revelations, and this Mercury retrograde that is stationing direct today, hallelujah, was different than any other Mercury retrograde that we've ever had. It was really focused on relationships and that karmic energy. And so we're going to be building upon that today. And so if you haven't watched the past updates, go for a binge watch, check them out. There's something going to be good for anyone who watches it. But what I noticed over the last week that they want me to talk about, and this doesn't mean that you have to have this. So, and we want to preface by saying that This doesn't mean that if you did not experience this or you did not have these things, that there's something wrong with you. We are all different. We are all right where we're supposed to be. We all work on different timetables, if you will. Something that I go through today, you might not go through for a week, or you may go through tomorrow. You know, it might have been something you went through 2 weeks ago. So don't judge by the illusionary belief of time. Just know that this information may be for you, may not be for you. And anything I ever say that you don't resonate with, let it go. If it's meant for you, it will come back to you another way, and it may resonate with you more at a later time, okay? So just let it go. So over this last week, I've noticed I've had a lot of new food cravings. It's not that it's not food cravings I've had before. It's not something I've been eating I haven't eaten this way in a while. And this is the power, you guys, of really knowing how to read your body and what it means to you. And this is why I teach this and a lot of the things that I do, including the energy matrix. Learning to read your body and what things mean to you is one of the most powerful things you can do. And it really builds that bridge of trust that creates this unshakable foundation that allows for you and anything that comes towards you for you to discern it with certainty and without validation. Sometimes validation is nice. So I'm going to share what I've been experiencing. And if that validates you, great. If it doesn't, that's okay. Know that it may validate something else in a different way. So what I've been experiencing is craving foods that are fermented. I have been craving kombucha again, which is something that I quit drinking a year and a half ago. Actually, probably 2 years ago, I quit drinking it. So I started craving kombucha again. I started craving sourdough bread. I generally don't eat bread, but it was very specific that I eat sourdough bread. I have been craving grass-fed butter. I try to stay away from dairy as much as possible. I do love cheese, so I eat it very sparingly. But I haven't eaten butter, and I couldn't tell you how long. I don't even use oil-based butters because oils are very highly inflammatory unless they're olive oil or avocado oil. So those are the two oils I usually bring in for my healthy fats. But over the past week, I have eaten a small tub, it's empty. I finished it last night, a complete and utter small tub of grass-fed butter, a half a loaf of sourdough bread, and I've been drinking about a half a kombucha a day. Those are very specific foods that I'm like, I don't usually eat these. Oh, and potatoes. I've been eating, yesterday I had 4 small organic baked potatoes. So these are very specific foods. And so I also noticed over this past week that I had a lot of chest pain, a lot of shortness of breath. I noticed I had a lot of pressure in my ears. I had a lot of throat clearing happening. And these were all very specific. And then over the weekend, we had some very weird energy. And I shared about it in my Facebook group where I said, something weird's happening right now. And at the time, I was still discerning the energy. It's been discerned, so I can share about it now. But I was still discerning the energy. It felt like we were in the twilight zone. It felt like things were off. There were so many glitches in the matrix. People were acting super strange. It was as if things didn't happen or things happen. You're almost like, what do they call it when, what's that called? I'm not in human form right now. The mandala, thank you. The mandala effect. There was a lot of that kind of energy going on. There was just a lot of weird shit happening. And I was like, man, something's up. It's almost like we're between worlds right now. And over last week, we had a small increase in the base frequency once again. It didn't feel as big as the previous ones. The previous energy frequency jumps felt very large. This one felt very small. But what I noticed yesterday, so yesterday I went on a hike. I was very called to go on a hike. And there was so many codes coming in, but they weren't actually, it was strange. Normally I see with my eyes open. Normally I see sacred geometry coming in, right? I see certain codes that literally fall from the sky. I can literally see them falling from the sky. It's a really cool experience. It took me a long time to adjust my vision to seeing that. But yesterday, when I was hiking, there was this wave of energy coming off the earth in pulses, right? So normally when I see energy coming off the earth, it's a flow, and it's almost like a vortex that's being pulled up from the earth to the sky, right? To the cosmos. And I'll see it in the form of, it literally looks like a vortex. It looks like energy is being pulled. This looked different. It looked like waves pulsing out, almost like a heartbeat, right? But I'd never seen it pulse in this way. And the codes, as the sun came through the trees, I would be guided to pull out my camera at certain moments as I was just walking. And I couldn't see it when I was looking through my camera phone. I couldn't see the codes coming through. But when I played it back a couple hours later, I could see the codes. And as the light was shining down, and the energy was pulsing up, you could see them. And they're on my Instagram stories. If they're still, I don't know, they might go off soon, but they were on my Instagram stories. So anyway, I spent a few hours in nature. I was connecting with the trees, connecting with Gaia, and then just trying to pull all the information together. And because this seemed like there was such a huge thing going on. So what they told me is we are actually still in it, a collective heart chakra upgrade. So going back to around July of this year, when we went through the galactic new year, going into 8/8, this is when we really had a huge push of karmic energy being brought up from those lower three chakras. And it was really starting to just dig it up, and really bringing it up in front of the heart space. And a lot of you probably felt that, right? A lot of shit's been coming up over the last few months, right? Really over the last 2 years. But this was felt like a final push. Like we're really going to push you and like pull that stuff up to the heart space. And just because they pull it up to the heart space doesn't mean that you're going to accept it or let it in, face it, forgive it, whatever it is that you need to do with it. A lot of you will distract yourselves, numb yourselves, disassociate, push it down, and repeat these patterns over and over again, which intensifies the patterns. And for some of you, you've been having a big lesson in acceptance. And this is why I have been talking a lot about acceptance is not agreement, because we don't have to agree to accept. But when you're not in acceptance, you're in anger, you're in frustration, because you don't want to deal with it. You don't want to face it. You want to avoid it. You don't understand why the patterns keep getting intenser or the same problem keeps happening again and again. Because when you're not getting the lesson the first time, it's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. But each time it's going to get bigger. It's going to get a little louder. It's going to get your attention a little bit more so that you won't forget it. And it's really important for you guys to hear that. So this energy has been pulling it up to the heart chakra. So here we are, this past week, we began a collective heart chakra upgrade. And that also means, and as I mentioned last week about the Schumann going, how black, when it went dormant and what that actually meant, she went through a period of death and rebirth. And when we pull anything into our heart, my guides call it the coin return. When we accept it in, right, we've opened that door, it goes in, it changes form from dense to light. And now we have more space for something new to come in. So here we went through this week after that death and rebirth cycle through a collective heart chakra upgrade. So if you've been feeling the chest pains or the tightness of chest, or even just feeling like shortness of breath because grief lives in our lungs, then that may be what you have been experiencing. So whatever she goes through, we also go through at some level. Now, not everybody is going to experience it at the same level. So it's really important that you guys understand that. You may experience this next week. So if you're not experiencing it, don't think that you've been left out. They really wanted me to make that clear. So some people may be feeling like they're not on track when you are. You're always right where you're supposed to be, based upon the decisions you've made, your choices. Okay, your choices is what create your reality. That's your control. Choice is your control. But with a heart chakra upgrade, your throat also has to go through an upgrade. Your ear chakras also have to go through an upgrade. And your third eye has to go through an upgrade. It is a diamond from the throat to the third eye out to the ears. And the reason why is, and something that you guys will learn in my book that comes out November 11th, we are in a portal of purification. And my modality is actually called the purification process, where you'll learn a very, very high perspective of how the chakras actually operate. I don't go deep into it because that's kind of very quantum and woo-woo, but I touch on it in the book. So when there has been, all that density has been purified by the heart, you now speak and see and receive through a clear lens, because we're always speaking, seeing, and hearing through a lens of our wounding. Just take that in for a second. So when you clear density into light, it's like you're clearing a layer of film off the window, or you're tuning the radio and getting it a little clearer, or you're putting on a new pair of glasses. So everything has to adjust a little bit. So if you've been having, and maybe for some of you, you needed more throat chakra clearing. For me, it's been my ears, right? Because I'm very clairaudient. So my ears have been going through a massive transformation. So sometimes I feel like I'm in a fishbowl. Like right now, as we speak, I have huge pressure coming out of my right ear, which means I'm releasing. When it comes out the right, when you hear frequency coming out the right, or you feel a pressure release coming out the right, that's a release. If you're right-handed. If you're left-handed, then it's going to be opposite. So I'm having it tuned here, right? But I've also had a little bit of third eye clearing, and I've had some throat chakra upgrades going on as well. So we've had a lot of upper chakra transformation happening because of this. It's a domino effect. Okay. Because of that, though, I want to circle back to the food. So you guys know I'm a huge proponent. I talked about it in the beginning of how reading your own energy and knowing your own body's dictionary and all of that, what that means is like one of the most powerful things you can do, especially if you're someone who wants to be an energy reader. I have so many spiders in my house right now. If you can't read your own energy well, you're going to struggle to read other people's energy. When we look at the foods that I was craving, they are very acidic foods. Right? Anything that's been fermented or dairy is very acidic. But you know what else is acidic? Anger. And anger is grief's bodyguard. So when I crave foods like that, what I'm craving is because your body is always trying to come into homeostasis, always. So by my body craving those foods, it was asking for assistance in alchemizing, bringing my acid level up so that it could break down the anger. The butter is used as a binding agent to bind the toxins together. And the potatoes are a root vegetable. They are the great absorber. So all of that can be absorbed into the potatoes, and the physical release can happen in my body. So it's very important when we understand why we're craving certain things. So I don't ever fight it. I always say, oh, I'm craving this. Okay, well, I know what that craving means for me. I also know when I'm craving something for the wrong reasons. Is this something I can balance energetically? Is this something that I actually need the assistance of physical food or something else outside of me? That's the discernment piece. So think about what you've been craving and what your body's been needing. I've also had a huge desire, even though I'm in the middle of a book launch and I'm getting ready I actually leave Friday. I was hired to do a private event in Michigan for a wellness center. And then Then the following weekend, we have Witchy Weekend in Salem that I'm going to be at, working at, speaking at, and being a part of. I have that. I have my book coming out. I have a lot of big things. But at the same time, even though I have a lot of things that I need to do to prepare for all of this, I've had this huge desire to rest. So I have pulled back. I've been laying around. I've been listening to music. I've been reading. I've been reading my own book. I've been getting out into nature. I've been in my sauna. I haven't been doing as many videos on TikTok. I've really just reclused a little bit. And I actually feel that energy is going to stick around for a little while. So even though we're in this portal of purification, which also is going to feel almost like a catapulting, it's like you're on the edge and you're standing on the edge and they're like, we're about to kick you off. You're going to have to either fly or get ready to go through a big fall. So I've already was pushed. And so it's like, don't worry, you're going to get to where you need to be. Just surrender, open your wings, and just ride it. Ride the wave. Everything you need is going to happen. It's all going to get done. Surrender into the relaxation. We need you to fly. If you start panicking with your wings, you're just going to get sucked down really quickly. So I've been pulled back. I've been asked to pull back and rest way more. So I'm balancing resting with working. So when I have a couple of hours of good energy, I get as much work done as I feel called to do. And when my energy says enough, I stop. Because I don't want to bully myself. I don't want to bully me into doing more because I feel like I'm responsible or obligated to. My first obligation is always to my health and well-being. The other thing with the weird energy over the weekend, so we're going to try to decipher this a little bit for those. And I've talked about this before, but I know that not everybody remembers, and there's a lot of new people that come in here. So when we talk about third dimension, fourth dimension, fifth dimension, sixth, seventh dimension, right? For years, people have been talking about, oh, we're going to 5D. Some people talk about 60, 40, whatever, right? What does that mean? We've heard a lot of talk for years as we've been preparing for the shift, the Great Awakening, of separation of two planets, of 3D and 5D. So we want to talk about this for just a minute to explain the energy over the weekend. And we're going to use the analogy of when a loved one dies. When a loved one dies, they don't go up somewhere. They're literally right next to you. Because what's happening is they're going from a denser frequency, dense plane of existence. That's what the third dimension, fourth dimension, they're planes of existence that carry a particular frequency. They're going from a dense plane of existence to a light plane of existence. They're moving frequencies. So as they shed their physical body, that's all that's happening when someone crosses over, is all they're doing is shedding their physical body and going back into a lighter frequency, a higher rate of speed. Vibration is the rate of speed. Your frequency vibrating out. That's what vibration is. Right? So they've moved frequencies. They're standing right next to you. You can't see them because they're on a different frequency. Just like a radio station, right? You tune into one, which is slowly going away, I know, but you turn into one station, the other station's still there. You're just not tuned into it. You're not on that frequency, so you can't hear it. So when we talk about 3D, 4D, 5D, 6D, 7D, they're all in the same space simultaneously, but they're on a different wavelength. They are vibrating at a different rate of speed. The higher we go, the faster the vibration is. That frequency is moving at a higher rate of speed. So you're either not going to be able to see it or hear it, because you are going to see and hear based upon your rate of speed. That's why when you meditate, some people get downloads and do things because they've gone to a different frequency. They've gone to a different space where they can receive more information, hear more, see more, because they are on a different frequency. But you will live in a sustained frequency. That's what embodiment is sustaining it. So understanding that, I want you to get rid of the idea that there's going to be two Earths. It's not a thing. But we do right now have the third dimension through the seventh dimension, all vibrating, all available. Actually, all 12 are always here and available. But what's happening is, as we know, we are in the 4th D transit, okay, on a collective level. That means that collectively we have mass amount of beings transiting from the 3rd to the 5th. The 4th is a bridge. Individually, some of us are transiting from 4th to 5th. Some of us are moving from 5th to 6th or 6th to 7th. But the mass is moving from 3rd to 4th, they're going on the 4D bridge as we speak. So what happened over the weekend is, I was correct. We were feeling the two worlds. But a lot of people shared that they were experiencing the same thing as I was, which was we felt like we were in the twilight zone. Like we were witnessing a whole nother world while we were in another, it was a very strange energy. And what they told me is a lot of us have docked. Was just to keep it simple. A lot of us have docked in our new energy. We're no longer on the transit bridge. So if you felt that strange energy, like you were witnessing another world, like you're like, it was like you're watching a whole nother world happen and you're like, what is going on? It didn't affect you, right? You weren't triggered by it. You weren't absorbing it. You were observing it and going, what in the world is happening right now? I could literally feel the difference in the frequency. So for me, I docked into a higher frequency to where I'm now stabilized. We had huge templates stabilizing over the weekend. Huge energetic templates. So as those stabilize collectively, those of us who were transiting, a lot of us stabilized. So maybe you stabilized into the 5th. Maybe you stabilized into the 6th. If you were triggered by any of it, you definitely were not going into the 5th. Just want to make that clear. When you hit the 5th dimension and you are able to sustain it, your triggers are very far and few between. Not that they don't happen, right? Because it's a process of integration. So once you've stabilized it, now you're going to start the integration process. So that's what we wanted to touch on, explaining what was happening over the weekend. It was really weird energy. So a couple of the things that they want to talk about is the portal of purification that we are in. This full moon in Aries, which is Wednesday. I don't have the exact time. Usually I have that prepared, but I don't, and I apologize. But the full moon in Aries, there's some other planetary conjunctions. Remember, planetary, astrological, they're just like time. They're markers for that energy. That's all it is. The energy isn't because of the planets. The energy isn't because of the Schumann. All of that is a marker. It's like when you go to the doctors or the hospital, right? It's displaying what you're already feeling. That's all it is. So we have some big astrological things that are happening, and those are going to be the markers reflecting back what is actually going on. It's going to be reflecting back the marking of that energy. It's very, very fiery. It's going to feel like you have this compulsion to move forward, but you're almost at a state of exhaustion. So you have a real good chance of getting burnout this week if you do not listen. Actually, the next 2 weeks, if you don't listen to your body, eat what your body's calling you to eat, drinking lots of water, lemon water if you can, moving your body, resting, working when you have the energy, pulling back when you don't. Very clear about observing. If you can observe your reality, the collective reality, instead of absorb, again, be the change, don't engage, you will come out of this very smoothly. Because we're not done with the revelations just yet. But this portal of purification is going to last until about, we're going to hit the Scorpio new moon. I believe it's November 4th. I could be wrong, but I think it's November 4th. But the date they keep giving me, which is very interesting because I usually don't get exact dates, but they're really pulling November 9th out. I'm not exactly sure what it is about the 9th, but I do know that we're going to be in this portal till about the 9th. So that might be what the 9th represents. And that's right before the 11/11 portal. And this 11/11 portal is really where we come out of the purification and we're going to have a small reprieve. Normally around these portals, it doesn't mean it still won't be intense. Normally around these portals, there's a lot of stuff that happens. Well, this portal, that's the 11/11 portal, really feels like a breath of fresh air. It's like we just got out of the sauna and we feel 20 pounds lighter and we're like, oh my God, I feel so clean. I feel so fresh. I just want to like dance around and go celebrate. It's going to feel like a nice reprieve. But we're going to have to go through a 2-week portal of purification first. So again, the more you can be in that energy of observing, the better it's going to be for you. And Scorpio, even though it's a water sign, it's like boiling water, right? I'm a Scorpio rising. I know a lot about that energy. It's very intense. Scorpios are very intense. And Aries is an intense energy as well. So when we look at those astrologically, it reflects back what I'm reading energetically. Okay, so it's going to be a powerful period. But please know that there is a little window of reprieve coming. But the 1/1 portal is really like it's go time. It's going to be a very big forward motion. A lot of people thought that when Saturn went direct that we would feel that. And I told you guys, no, it's going to be a slow go at first. And then all of a sudden the wheels are going to be like, okay, now we've got forward momentum and we're going to start to go. And they already brought in some energy around the 12/12 and 12/21 portal, which was interesting just a little bit. They said that the 12/12 to 12/21 window portal is going to be the time where the great change is going to start to happen. So I know a lot of you are like, when is this all going to collapse? When is everything going to change? It's already been happening. A lot of things have been happening behind the scenes that nobody's really aware of or seen. And we have a lot of information that we don't share publicly because a lot of people aren't in the space to hear it from a space of totality. Meaning they understand that the bad is necessary and is no different than the good. Like there's no right or wrong. There's no good or bad. It's a frequency exploration. We got to move through these waves back and forth. So we don't do that because a lot of you are still in a lot of fear. But this 12/12 to 12/21 portal is going to be the beginning of what they are calling the great change. And we're going to witness that change. So 2022 is going to be really a year of exploration. It's going to be a year of grace and acceptance. And with acceptance, right, you can't receive until you accept first, right? How many times have you guys heard me do that exercise? If your hands are closed and you're in a fist of rage and you're frustrated and you're holding on to what was with dear life, not only is that exhausting, but you can't receive anything. Oh, but when you accept and you open your hand and you're like, okay, this is what is. I don't like it. I don't agree with it, but this is what is. It's like a big release, like big rig tire, right? When a big rig releases their brakes, it's like, with this open and an acceptance, now you're like, okay, my old life, how I knew the collective, how I knew the world before can go now. Or it can grow, evolve, change. Or my hand's open. So now I can receive the solution that has been there the whole time. But you can't receive until you accept first. Someone wants to give you $100 bill. This is why we feel our manifestations are like right outside of our reach. Oh my God, I can feel it. It's right there. But why can't I grab it? Why can't I hold on to it? Because your damn hand's closed. They can throw $100 bills at you all day long, but if your hands are closed, you can't pick them up. You can't receive it. You have to accept first. 22 is the energy of grace. Grace is acceptance. So it's going to be a year of exploration, discovery, and acceptance. That is the beginning of when change can occur. So we kind of touched on way future energy, but it all kind of strings together very fluidly when you look at it the way that we just laid it out for you. So this week, before I go into some other things that we're going to touch on, this week, listen to your body. Don't try to overdo it, overwork it, overdo too much. Slow down. Listen. Double check things. Be patient. Move slowly. Your body needs to rest. Rest. Have trust that what needs to get done will get done. Look at what you're craving. Look at what, and always, what are you craving to watch? What are you craving to listen to? What are you craving to eat? What are you craving to do? Those all have messages and meanings for you. And live in the energy of observation. Watch your world as if you are having an out-of-body experience or you're watching a movie. Your own world and the collective stage for the next 2 weeks. Let me take a drink. Okay. So there's a couple other things that we touched on, that they touched on, that I want to mention. I personally, as Johanna, try not to go into this energy, and I'm not encouraged to go into this energy either. But we're going to bring up a few small things in hopes of just helping you to navigate. So again, October is the month of revelations and self-realization. So we're going to have some pretty big revelations as we go through this portal of purification. We've already had a ton of revelations on the world stage. I know for me personally, I've had a lot of revelations in my own life, and because of those, I've had some really big self-realizations, which helped me shift hugely. But there's going to be some more pretty big revelations that are going to be happening. Now, a lot of times we feel these big revelations, but we don't always see the validation of them, because the media is going to show you what they want to show you. And they're going to censor what they don't want you to see or make it hard for you to find. I don't watch the regular media. I even limit my alternative news, because even some of that is pretty fear-based. So I don't know if this is even a thing. So if anybody watches the actual news, they might be able to validate this. But from what I was being told from Spirit is that the media is talking about food shortages. The media is talking about transportation issues. And what they're saying is there is some truth, but it was caused through manipulation. So what they want to do is they want you to panic. They want you to fear buy. Because when you do that, then it all gets pulled up very quickly. The shelves go bare very quickly. And through their manipulation, they have delayed products from getting to the places that they need to be. And that has caused a domino effect in the supply chain. So do we have an opportunity to see some shortages? Yes. They will be temporary. This will not be a long-term thing. I have been assured of that. But what they're asking is for you guys to assist by not fear buying or panicking. Just pick up a little extra each time you go. And I've been talking about this for a couple of weeks. And I know some of you have been doing the big stuff. I don't see a need for that. Spirit does not see a need for that. 2 weeks. So don't go out and panic buy. When you do that, it creates empty shelves that cannot be replaced. And there goes the period where all of a sudden now there's nothing. That's what they're wanting, because then you become dependent upon them. So they are using control and manipulation. The other thing that they brought forth is that we will, this is why it's yes and no, because we will see some types of delays in transportation, whether that's flights, whether that's truckers, whether that's because of the food shipping, whatever those shipping containers are called. There's going to be a disruption in transportation. And we've already seen that, right, with Southwest and American. But this is multidimensional, right? So yes, some of it is manipulation by the government, and some of it is because courage is contagious. Courage is contagious. So when people finally stop complying, doesn't mean we do not want you to fight. Fighting breeds more fighting, even if you're fighting for change. All you have to do is disengage. Don't fight for change. Disengage. Just don't comply. Here's what's going to happen when you don't comply. The money line dries up. They would rather be wrong than lose money. They will not, you know how there's some people that are like, oh, I'll go broke before I say that I was wrong. They don't care. It's not about right or wrong for them. It's about the money. When you cut off their money, they will change it very quickly. Things have to change very quickly. So when you stop complying and they see that it's not working, the game has to change. Period. You're not going to wake anybody else up. You don't need to do that anymore. You don't need to try to fight to wake people up, to shove it in their face. We have hit a plateau of these are the people who are going to move forward. Don't waste your energy. Be the light. Be the change. Stop trying to get them to turn their light on and just be the light. The light attracts what? Everything. Flies, mosquitoes, moths. They will come. You just have to be the light. So be the change. Don't engage. Don't try to wake anybody up. Don't try to fight with anybody. Just stop complying. When you have the courage to do that, courage is contagious. So with that being said, you might see some disruptions, but they're good. They're for a good reason. The other thing is, with these big revelations are going to come some very big distractions, because they don't want you to see what's happening. They're going to attempt to put out some very big distractions that will either A, pull on your heartstrings, and will get you into the energy of, I have to have a social media campaign and I have to share about this and support this, kind of like everyone did with the Gabby thing. Or it's going to be fear-based so that people will be spreading that fear the same way. They want you to be in the energy of fight or flight one way or another. So they're either going to attempt to do your heartstrings or they're just going to go straight for the jugular. And they might mix it up and do a little bit of both. So again, with the bigger revelations come the bigger distractions. So once again, don't engage. This is 5D living. When you stop engaging. When you go on living your best life. Being the change, being the light. That's what it means to live in New Earth. To watch people struggle. You can offer them a hand, but you can't force them to take it. If they ask for help, be of assistance. And I know for me personally, as a wound, I went through my phase of wounded healer. I wanted to fix and control everybody. And the very last thing that I was trying to control and fix, I let go of last week. And it was a huge shift for me. Okay. Is there anything else? All right. They want me to look at questions on here. So let's see. There's a lot of energy coming through. Look at all these people on here. Yay. I love you guys. Pamela, Salim, Corey, Kelly, Rebecca, Lee, Angela. Hello, Corey, Vicky. What Corey says, what about extra virgin coconut oil? Coconut oil is good. Vicky says, I'm growing my new Scooby to make kombucha and have been on a potato kick. I purged so much this weekend. I measure my success by how many boxes of tissues I go through. Tears are a release of grief. Salim's definitely been feeling the chest pains. Vicky says her vision's been off today. If you guys see like this person, this conscious vibration, just ignore them. Let me block this user. Here we go. And then we're going to delete the comment. Little energy vampire trying to get us on this live. Vicky says, I have anger I can't let go. I can clear my sacral chakra, but I can't clear my gallbladder meridian, which is where the anger is stored. You can. I don't feel like it's in your gallbladder. I feel like it's in your liver. But here's the thing. You can't force yourself to let go. You can't. You have to surrender. So remember that, you guys. I'm going to check TikTok too in just a minute. Remember that, okay? It's not about fixing it. You got to stop trying to fix the energy that you're in or let go of it. Letting go, all you're ever letting go of is control. Acceptance. Can you accept that your anger, you have anger, Vicky? Can you accept your anger? God, this person commented like every other freaking word. It's okay, Pamela. Send the trolls love, you guys. Being angry about the trolls doesn't do any good. Just send them love. They're just trying to be seen. Salim is craving bread like crazy too. Hi, Dolores. Okay. Just seeing if there's any questions. Yes, Dolores, you are correct. on the hand thing. Pamela, yes, not just the past 2 years. The government's been manipulating our energy and rewriting history and doing all of that for this whole entire time. The last 2 years has been what the ancients called the karmic underbelly rising. It's where we finally saw with clarity what's been happening the entire time. None of this is new. Nothing that we have been seeing or feeling or that's been revealed is anything new. It's been happening for years. Like I talked about when I had that live with Tammy, the Build Back Better agenda, that's something that was around with Nixon. So this has been going on since before the 19th century. It's not anything new. Hi, Kimberly. You're so welcome, Ruth. Lots of digestive issues for you. You're probably purging. All right, let's see. If anybody has any actual questions, you can drop them real quick. And for those of you who are on TikTok, if you want to watch the replay or the whole entire video, please know that it is on YouTube and you can access that through my bio. So I just want to see if you guys have any questions on here. We got a lot of trolls looking to be seen today. See, a lot of times the trolls are trying to get your anger. They're trying to trigger you. They're doing their job. Their job is to trigger any remaining karma that needs to come up. So if you get triggered by trolls or people like that, just know that it's happening for you. Spider gang where you are. I'm telling you guys, I've had so many spiders. I had a big one in my bathroom. I had a bunch of clear spiders. I didn't even know there was a thing as clear spiders. And spiders are good. It's creativity. Spiders are good energy. I race dirt bikes to unwind. That sounds like a good thing to do. Scorpio in the house. If you don't know who they is, you probably shouldn't be on my live. Major fatigue and anxiety, not my usual. Yeah, fatigue. Fatigue, when we're super tired and in fatigue, our bodies are actually releasing. If you ever look at a dog or a cat when they're sleeping alone or they're sleeping when you know how they lay on their back and put upside down, they're actually releasing energy. So when we go through periods of great fatigue, or even when we're sleeping more than usual, they're literally kind of putting us out of the way so we can just allow the body to do what it needs to do. Because when we're busy running around the house and doing all kinds of things, we're expelling energy. So when we sleep, we're not talking, physically active, we're not doing anything. So our body can use all of its energy to move things, to transform things, to reprogram things, to, alchemize. And the anxiety, again, I've mentioned a few times, but it's never a bad thing for me to repeat these things. Anxiety is just an excess of energy. And when we feel it as anxiety, it means we're taking it personally. Because that's a programming from childhood, right? That everything's about us. Our parents' mood was our fault. Anything that, it's a self-obsession, which sounds kind of egotistical to say, but it's not. And I still get anxiety. And when I do, I go, I have to remind myself, I'm feeling a lot of excess energy. I'm taking that energy personally. If I just call it out and allow it to move through me, I'm no longer anxious. So just recognize and be like, hey, man, I'm feeling a lot of excess energy. I'm feeling a little exhausted. Let me just lay down and take a breath and allow that energy to just wash through me like the wind. And that will really help. My book will be available. Thank you for asking that, by the way. My book will be available to purchase on Amazon. It'll be distributed through all the other places where you would buy books, Barnes and Nobles, etc., all of those places. It will be available on paperback, and it will be available on e-reader. And so those will be available to purchase on November 11th. Next week, Tanya Lee, who is my best friend, soul sister, and my editor, her and I will be together, and we will be doing the cover reveal. So I will announce, probably give you about a 24-hour notice of when I'm going to do the cover reveal. And so it will be live. I will be live on TikTok, YouTube, Facebook, and I will be doing the cover reveal. So you guys will do that. My YouTube name is Johanna Burkhardt. So it's just youtube.com/Johanna Burkhardt. And there's a link to it when you click my little circle picture. Let's see. How do you feel about the rewriting of the Constitution? I don't have a personal feeling about it. I think that I think we're just going to wait and see how that plays out. I feel like everything needs to evolve and change. We can't, when we stay the same, it creates stagnation. And so it's probably time for it to be updated. My work hasn't mandated the death shot yet. Do you feel like it's coming from my company? I don't know yet, because I'm reading the collective energy and not your personal energy. So I think there's a lot of companies that are going to try it, but the more, so this is interesting. They're saying, like what I said about courage is contagious. The more companies that witness the amount of money that is lost from people walking off their jobs to say no and stand in their freedom, the more companies will think twice about mandating it. I got to be very careful with what I say, because YouTube is flagging things. So what I can say is what we witnessed with Southwest and American is powerful. So, and there's actually a lot of companies that have witnessed that when if they try to do that, huge job losses, and have quickly shifted. So be willing to risk it. Be willing to risk it and stand in your power and say no. Because when you do something that you guys don't want to do, when you think, I hear a lot of people say, I don't have a choice, and it's out of my control. No, choice is your control. When you choose uncertainty because it's your freedom and it's something that is aligned to you, know that the universe will protect you. The universe will have your back. A new opportunity, a new possibility, something will shift. It may not happen immediately. But if you do something you don't want to do it because you feel like you have to, you are saying you are powerless. Really take that in. We're not powerless. You are not powerless. You've been made to believe. We have all been enslaved for a very long time. So I think there is a potential, Wendy. Yes, there is a potential. I'm feeling a 60-40 right now. Be willing to risk it, they say. Be willing to risk walking away. Kathy said we had flies. Gross. Any thoughts on sugar cravings? I'd like to move past them. Okay, so Ruth, what does that mean to you? When you're craving it, you have to tune into your energy. What that means to me may not mean the same thing for you. When I'm craving sugar, it means I'm craving the sweetness of life. I'm bored. I feel like my life is dull, boring, bland. I'm wanting something sweet and exciting. I'm wanting a charge of energy. I'm feeling unmotivated. I'm wanting something that's going to motivate me and inspire me and get me into my creative flow. That's what it means to me. And I'm not reading you on these. But when you are craving something, what does it mean for you? Well, there you go. Lack of fulfillment in life. So by temporarily pumping yourself full of sugar, it's just a Band-Aid. This is why I said this is where we learn energy discernment. And this is why I teach this in quite a few courses, actually. But The energy matrix is going to be the big one, where you learn how to discern, am I craving sugar or butter or kombucha because there is a physical imbalance that I need physical assistance with, or is it because I'm trying to fix it and medicate it and shift out of it? So I've said several times, like there's times when I crave alcohol, and I know when I crave alcohol, it means I'm wanting to let go. So that's just my signal. Okay, let go of control. When I'm craving sugar, I know that I need to find something that's going to inspire me, something that's going to energize me. Sugar is only just going to destroy my gut. So I know that sugar is not, and I can use natural sugar. I can increase my fruit intake. I can take a vitamin C pack and do a quick vitamin C flush. Vitamin C, by the way, is the closest molecule to sugar. They're almost identical. So it's just a matter of being able to discern what's happening for you and what it means for you. Oh, for my last, you've been hoarding glass containers too. I don't know what we're going to use them for, but we're all going to have something cool to do, right? Oh my gosh, we've been on an hour. Thank you guys all who shared and who had brought forth some good questions. And I hope that I hope this information was helpful to you. Like I said, I may come on next week with a small update. I'm not sure yet. I'm going to next weekend. I've been hired for a private event at a wellness center, and then the weekend after that is Witchy Weekend in Salem, Massachusetts. This also virtual. If you're on my email list or on my Facebook, you know that I have shared that you can attend. I, for one day only, will be doing mini healing sessions. I will be using medical mediumship. You can request an activation. You can heal an emotional or mental block. They are 80% off, and it's only for those who have a ticket to the Witchy Weekend hosted by My Mystical Life. So if that is something that you're drawn to, there's a lot of other readers and mediumships, full medium panel. I'm going to be a speaker as well. So there's going to be mediumship. There's going to be seances. There's going to be crystal sale. There's going to be all kinds of stuff. So you can do it in person, or you can do the virtual ticket. The door prizes and giveaways that My Mystical Life is offering are insane. It's worth the ticket alone. All the contributors, all the people who are a part of this have donated some very big things, including me. I'll be giving away a $350 session with me and a full course. The values range from $555 to $1,500. So a lot of people, there's a huge amethyst, like there's all kinds of crazy giveaways. So if you're into mediumship or channeling or just exploring, seances and working with spirit, this is going to be a very fun weekend that you can attend, like I said, virtually or in person. So that is something that I can share. The other event is a private event. So I'm going to be quite busy, but I will be coming on to at least do the book reveal cover. So the cover reveal. So know that that's coming. And just, you guys, love on yourself and each other. Be the observer. I can't say that enough. Detach from the fear. When you're in fear, call it out. Be like, man, I am really in the future right now. False evidence appearing real. What is real right now in front of me? Look around, feel your feet, take a breath, bring yourself back, get a rubber band around your wrist if you need to, snap it, bring yourself back to this now moment. What is in your control? What can you deal with right now? That is it. Everything else is outside of your control. Breathe, love yourself through it. Welcome that fear. Be like, you're welcome here. It's okay. Don't fight with it. What you resist will persist. Everything you do, every decision you make needs to come from a place of neutrality and not fear. Okay? So don't engage. Don't engage. I love you guys. Thank you for hopping on, and I will see you next time.